Today, I invite you to enter a realm that exists beyond what can be seen, beyond what can be touched, a realm where silence speaks louder than words, and transformation is not just a concept but a lived experience. Let us unravel the mystery behind the ancient alchemical acronym V.I.T.R.I.O.L. Visita, Interiora, Terrae, Invenies, Occultum, Lapidem, a cryptic phrase that, on the surface, speaks of visiting the interior of the earth to discover the hidden stone through rectification. But beneath its surface lies an inner map, a spiritual code pointing not outward, but deep within. This phrase is not about turning lead into gold in the literal sense. It is about transforming the base material of our lives, our wounds, our fears, our ego into something luminous, noble, and free. To speak these words is to answer a call, not from outside, but from the depths of your own soul. It is a whisper from the universe that invites you to descend, not downward, but inward. And in that descent, in that stillness, lies the secret, waiting to be revealed. The true alchemical journey begins in the shadow, not the light. It calls you to turn your gaze from the distractions of the world and face what has been buried. The phrase asks you to look into the forgotten chambers of your own being, to feel the weight of your silence, to confront the echoes of your fears, and to move through them with patience and grace. The word Interiora reminds us that transformation is not external. It is a silent unfolding, a deep excavation of the soul. And Terra grounds us. It reminds us that the earth beneath our feet, with all its chaos and beauty, is not separate from the divine. The same substance that forms mountains also forms you. In this way, the physical and spiritual are not opposites but mirrors of one another. As we begin this inward pilgrimage, we leave behind the idea that we are only flesh and bone. We begin to see ourselves as bridges between realms, as vessels through which spirit moves and matter responds. Every emotion, every wound, every memory becomes a doorway. It is not a straight road, it is a labyrinth. And in that labyrinth, we find not only light but the shadows that shape it. We encounter ourselves in fractured mirrors, each reflection revealing something raw, something real, something holy. To walk this path is to choose reconciliation. It is to no longer wage war against your own imperfections, but to greet them with compassion. In this space, rectification is not punishment. It is purification. Not a violent burning away, but a gentle revealing, like gold emerging from ore. Facing what we fear, we remember who we are. We begin to see our pain as a teacher and our fragility as a gift. In every challenge, we uncover wisdom. In every fall, the blueprint for rising again. And then, something shifts. We begin to see beauty not in perfection, but in wholeness. We realize that to be spiritual is not to escape the world, but to engage with it more deeply. The smell of rain on soil, the way light hits stone, the rhythm of our own breath, these become sacred signs. The material becomes mystical. The world is no longer mundane, but a living scripture. In these moments of profound awareness, we discover that the hidden stone we seek is not far away. It is buried not in caves or temples, but in the core of our being. This sacred dance between the visible and invisible, between the body and the soul, is where true transformation occurs, and it is slow. There is no sudden enlightenment, only countless small awakenings. The peace you feel in silence, the tears that cleanse you when no one is watching, the memory that breaks you open and stitches you together again. These are not detours, they are the path. Along this journey, we begin to see our patterns. We observe the cycles that shape us, the anger, the longing, the joy, and we stop judging them. We begin to hold our inner world with curiosity instead of condemnation. The dualities, light and dark, joy and sorrow, body and spirit, no longer compete. They cooperate, they converse, they create something new. A wholeness we had forgotten was ever possible. And in this stillness, this quiet awakening, we realize that self-knowledge is not an escape from life, but a full immersion in it. Each step, each breath becomes a prayer. Each moment of presence becomes a portal. This is not a concept, it is a lived reality. It is not about attaining something. It is about remembering something we already are. As we progress deeper into this inner exploration, something remarkable happens. Ancient wisdom buried in symbols, temples, and forgotten tongues begins to converge with modern insight. The esoteric and the empirical shake hands. The hermetic principle of as above, so below begins to make sense not only in mysticism but in science. We start to see the unity behind all things. No thought exists in isolation. No atom spins alone. Everything is connected, from the spiral of galaxies to the spiral in your fingerprint. The teachings of the alchemists were never primitive myths. They were encoded truths about the psyche, about matter, about energy. Paracelsus taught that true alchemy is not in metals, but in the soul. Fulcanelli saw cathedrals not as architecture, but as living texts. Their symbols were not ornamental, were instructions, archetypes carved in stone, stories meant to awaken memory. Carl Jung later understood this. He recognized that alchemical imagery was a mirror of the human soul, the dragon, the king, the union of opposites. These weren't just dreams, they were maps. Jung called it individuation, the process of becoming whole, a sacred marriage between shadow and light. what ancient sages expressed in metaphor. Modern psychology begins to map in neural pathways, in trauma responses, in emotional intelligence, what mystics described as sacred energy. Modern physics begins to hint at in quantum entanglement, in fields and frequencies. This convergence reminds us that the path to self-realization is not exclusive to monks or mystics, it is for all of us. It is human. It is now at the apex of this journey. Something crystallizes, consciousness expands, not as a lightning strike, but as a soft glow that touches everything. We realize that the stone we were searching for, the lapis philosopherum, not an object, it is a state of total presence, a reconciliation of all that we are. The flame that once burned in separation now becomes a light of unity. You realize that nothing in you needs to be exiled, not the fear, not the anger, not even the shame. Everything has a place. Everything can be transmuted. And so, we arrive at a kind of stillness, not the end of movement, but the beginning of true harmony. The philosopher's stone is not at the end of the journey, it is the journey, transformed by our awareness. In this moment, you are not merely human. You are the alchemist and the gold. You are the seeker and the stone. This awakening is not final, it is eternal. It keeps unfolding every time you choose presence over distraction, compassion over judgment, integration over denial. The true power of V.I.T.R.I.O.L lies in this, the courage to turn inward, to explore the unknown chambers of yourself, and to find there not emptiness, but the divine. In every shadow, a lesson; in every silence, a song; in every breath, the chance to begin again. And so, this ancient mystery continues to breathe in us today, not as a relic, but as a living truth. The sacred work of transformation never ends, because we are never finished becoming. Thank you for walking this path.